hello everybody, Gems here. This is our real estate deals, and I'd like to welcome you again to another episode. Now, again, this program is created mainly to share, impart, and inspire aspiring individuals to venture wholesaling and share experiences to impart knowledge and power to those young investors who's um, who's willing to take a shot in wholesaling. And as for our guest today is someone very charming, as a charming investor all the way from Arizona. So let's welcome Joshua Dominguez. Hi, Joshua. How are you feeling today?
Good, good. Really excited to be on here and appreciate you guys even having this for new wholesalers. I know it's something that I would have loved, to have as a resource when I was first starting.
All right, the pleasure is ours. Now, Joshua, before anything else, can you like introduce yourself to us, like where you're from? Can you please give us a little bit background about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So, my name's Joshua. I'm based out of Phoenix, Arizona. I'm actually 25 years old. I started my real estate journey when I was 23. And I mean, it's been one of the best decisions that I've ever done. I actually come from immigrant parents from Mexico. We migrated over here when I was like around 6 years old, and ever since we got in Phoenix, or into Phoenix, Arizona, I can say for sure that it's been a crazy journey, a crazy life.
So while you started young as a wholesaler, so is like wholesaling just a side hustle for you, or are you doing it full time currently?
So currently, this is full time, doing it almost 6 days a week. From 9 a.m. all the way down to 6, 7 p.m. until a deal is done, right?
Mhm.
Right now it's not something where I, take half of the day off and only work for a little bit. Right now I'm on grind mode, hustling, trying to get those deals locked up, trying to make money.
Hmm. So back when you like first started, when you were like 23, were you employed back then, or studying while simultaneously doing or wholesaling, or did you like jump into wholesaling full time?
Yeah, so before I was 23, I just had full-time jobs.
Hmm.
So the last job I had was at Bank of America doing mortgages. So I was able to save up, a little bit of money. And when I turned 23, I decided to just jump in, go in at it 100%. And, I didn't go in at it on my own. I actually joined an acquisition company. And so I was able to get mentored and guided through by an actual like seasoned real estate investor that had been doing it for a while.
Okay, now let's try to like go back when you had your like first ever deal. Do you still remember, that your first
Yeah.
deal? So can you like tell us your like struggles in the beginning, if there were any, and like how did you manage to like overcome those struggles?
Yeah, so when I first started, I did try doing it on my own for a couple of months. And honestly, it was a big struggle. I thought it was going to be something easy. I watched the YouTube videos, I watched all the gurus, and I thought it was just going to be a piece of cake. But 3 months into it, and I still hadn't gotten a deal. So, one day I just saw this person post on their Instagram stories that they were hiring for their wholesaling company. So I just decided to contact them and I joined them. I believe it was like June of 2021 or March of 2021, sometime in that area. And it took me, I think, about like 2 months to get my first deal with them.
Mhm.
I was able to get guided. I had an acquisitions person. His name was Luis, and he had a lot of experience. So he was able to really guide me through the process. I think my first one was in Alabama. And anybody that does wholesaling knows Alabama is a little bit easier to get a deal, right, compared to all the other states.
Mhm.
And so the spread is a lot smaller, but it was exciting to see that it was real. It was exciting to see that like, hey, I put in the work, I made the calls, and I got the results. Um, a lot of like the YouTube videos and gurus, they make it seem like you're gonna find a property, contact the seller, and they're gonna want to sell it to you, right? But the
Mhm.
reality is, it takes hundreds and hundreds of calls,
Yeah.
contacting hundreds and hundreds of prospects. And then the real job of being a wholesaler is acquisitions, right? And so being able to qualify and disqualify the leads, being able to see which ones are the good ones, which ones are the bad ones. And that was something that I really struggled with in the beginning. I would get just window shoppers, right? People
Mhm.
that would tell me they would want to sell, and at the end they were just wasting my time. They were just playing with me. And so, it was really that being able to become good at acquisitions and negotiating, right?
Mhm. Yeah, it's true that in wholesaling, it really is a numbers game. Now, let's go back to the first acquisition that you have. Like, how, what was the process? How did you like get the seller to say yes? How was your relationship to the seller?
Yeah. So I got it. It was through a cold call lead. So
Uh-huh.
first, the VAs cold called it. And then once I got it, I think it took maybe like 5 to 6 contacts. So it wasn't like the first call I got it. Um, I had to make a relationship with the seller, build rapport. I'm not exactly sure on the scenario. I don't remember that far back, but I do know it was an older lady. And in those situations when they're older, it's really about building trust. So I had, that first call was really me introducing myself and
Mhm.
her showing her that I'm credible, that we have a solid company, that it's something established. So once that was out of the way, the second and third calls were just more about negotiating and coming to a price together. With those, from my experience, well, with older people, you can't really rush them to say yes, because then they're gonna regret it afterwards. And even if you have a signed agreement, it's about getting it to closing on escrow when it really
Mhm.
counts. And if you don't have that trust with the seller, they may just not show up to escrow. They may not
Yeah.
show up to the title company, and your deal is done at that point, even if you have a signed agreement. So yeah, I was able to build trust with her, and on that, I think it was like the sixth call was when she finally decided to say yes. She decided to sign the agreement. It was my first time ever getting a yes, so you can imagine, I tried staying calm inside, but on the inside, I was sweating, I was
Mhm.
panicking, I was thinking, man, this finally worked. But yeah.
Yeah, because most of them, they really have more than, it's like more than a property for them. They hold like an emotional attachment to their property. So that's maybe one of the reason why it's not that very easy for them to let go of their houses, their properties. So no,
Yeah.
you've mentioned about the title company earlier. So how did you like find the title company, and were they like easy to work with?
Yeah, so, for this one, since I did join the company, they already had established title companies that they had worked with before and such. But a good way to find a title company that's friendly to wholesalers is by just giving them a call.
Mhm.
You gotta search them up on Google, give them a call and vet them out, just like you would vet a seller or a buyer. You ask them, hey, do you guys know how to do assignments? Have you guys worked with investors before? Do you guys offer any sort of like help or guidance through the process? Because if it's your first ever deal, it's one thing to get the deal signed, and it's another thing to do the transaction coordinating, right? It's like everything in wholesaling is a business, right? Like
Yeah.
wholesaling is the umbrella, and then
Mhm.
there's so many other components, acquisitions, dispo, title, and so much more. So you just got to vet them out. Another thing you could do is go on Facebook groups where
Yeah.
they're already doing wholesaling, and just search on that group, search up title companies in certain states. So, for example, for me, title company in Arizona, and more than likely that question has already been answered, and they already have a good title company to work with.
Yeah, yeah, research. Now, um,
Yeah.
we've tackled about like the acquisition, the title company. Let's go back to like the disposition side.
Yeah.
So, like how long did it take you to like close that deal, and like where did you find your cash buyers?
Yeah, so for that one specifically, my very first one, since it was with the company, they pretty much it was everything structured. So that company had an acquisitions, a dispo, a TC, cold callers. It was broken down beautifully. And so once I got the deal locked up, all I had to do was send it over to my dispo, and they basically sold it.
Hmm.
But a good way to find cash buyers and such is, calling. So pulling a list of properties that have sold recently, and then they were resold within the year. And what that tells you is that more than likely that's a flipper. That's somebody that's flipping properties. And so what you want to do is hit up their realtor and tell them, hey, I have some properties that I'm trying to get rid of. I see that you work with an investor. Are you open to working with another investor? And then it is kind of iffy because you are dealing with a realtor that might not like wholesalers, to be fair. So always be careful and really vet them out carefully. Another good way is through Facebook.
Hmm.
Recently, I got a deal locked up, seller finance, and I was able to find a buyer through Facebook. So I posted it, I believe, on about 5 pages. I got, I think, about 20 responses, 20 emails that I had to send out. And then from those, I got about like three serious people, three people that I called, I vetted. I asked them, hey, be honest with me. Are you going to wholesale it or are you going to keep it yourself? And once you vet them out, you tell them, please view the property beforehand because there's not going to be any due diligence once you drop EMD. So then I told him that, he sent out his contractor. He viewed the property, he approved it, and then he said, "Hey, I'm ready to go. No, no due diligence, $7,000 EMD. Let's get it up." And so right now we actually sent over the assignment just literally like 30 minutes ago, and so hopefully we have that signed by the buyer later on
Congratulations.
today.
Yeah,
Thank you, appreciate it.
congrats. Yeah, I don't mean to like preview, but on your first day, like how much did you earn from it? Like, we're just curious.
Yeah. So again, with that one being Alabama, I don't think it was much of a big deal. I think it was only around 7,500.
Mm,
And since I was doing acquisitions, it wasn't fully my deal, right?
yeah,
So I
yeah.
only got a cut from it. I think at the time it was around like 10%. So in all reality, I only made $750. And
Mm,
so yeah, and so that's one of the things that I learned. I traded at that time I traded my time for the knowledge. So once I got that deal, I learned so much information that somebody else would have maybe paid $5,000 for a mentorship or something like that, right?
for training, yeah.
So exactly, yeah. So I was able to stay with that company for I think it was a year and like 3 months. And it was only at 10%, and then at the end it got raised to 15%. But honestly, even though I wasn't, getting rich off of it, the amount of knowledge that I gained for free essentially is crazy. That all of that time, that year and couple of months that I spent with them was able to allow me to now be able to keep a lot more of my deal. So I'm still with the company, but I'm no longer, you know, just getting a little bit of it. I'm able to keep a higher portion where I think it's valuable for my time. So, you know, that's one thing for new wholesalers. If you're struggling and you've gone months without a deal, maybe you just need to pivot, try something different, see if you can partner up with somebody that's already been established and, trade a percentage for time. So let them know, hey, I'm willing to put in the time, but let's go 50-50 on the deal. Or, let's go 40-60 and you help me sell the deal as well, right? So it's not being scared to mentor or I'm sorry, not being scared to network and don't let your ego get in the way, right? Just because you're not going to make 100% of the profit, doesn't mean that you're not going to learn so much more. That's just going to make you even more valuable in the future.
Yeah, it's actually, a good tactic because, a lot of people nowadays would, like, as you've said, would pay a lot for the trainings. And whilst doing that, not only you will get your training for free, but you will experience it firsthand because you will
Yes.
be working with it. So um now, so let's go back to, like, um so in real estate, like, there are, like, a lot, as you've said, there are a lot of umbrellas, there are a lot of ways you could earn in real estate, and wholesaling is just like one of them. So did you, like,
Yeah.
venture into other parts of real estate as well, such as leasing, rental, brokerage, fix and flipping, etc.?
So far, the only other thing that we ventured into aside from cash is seller financing and doing creative deals.
Mhm.
So right now, what we're actually doing with one of another deal that we have out in Tonopah, Arizona, is instead of just wholesaling the assignment fee, what we want to do is actually close on that seller finance deal and then wrap it to an end buyer. So maybe somebody that can't qualify for a home, right? But they have the money, they have cash, they have maybe 20% to put down. So essentially, we're able to make cash flow, and on top of that, an assignment fee, which would be the down payment that that buyer puts. But we get to still keep the property, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you've mentioned about, creative deals, and there may be a lot out there who doesn't know what creative deals as well. So can you, like, give us, like, a brief definition of what you mean by creative deals?
Yeah. So, a lot of the times with this market, cash deals are really hard to get accepted.
Mhm.
And most of the time, when you're talking to sellers, they're still stuck on the market where their prices are worth X amount of dollar, right? And it's ridiculous. But as you and I know, in reality, real estate has slowed down. Right now, it's more of a balanced market, and we don't know if it's going to go up or down. So flippers are a lot more conservative. And from what I've seen, they're purchasing at around like 50 to 60%, which if you're offering to a seller 45% or 50%, most of the time they're going to say no. So what we had to do is pivot, and change over to a different strategy where creative finance allows for us to give them their full asking purchase, but in exchange, it's our terms. And so, for example, for seller finance, it would be where the seller actually becomes the lender.
Mhm.
So we get a loan personally through them, where if a property is worth or they have it listed for 300,000, we give them the 300,000, but we tell them, hey, we're gonna put 5% down, and then you're gonna carry the rest. Maybe it's gonna be for 5 years, or maybe it's gonna be for 10 years. But that's the only way that I can give you the 300,000. And for that one, man, it's almost like magic. For example, say cash offers, it takes 200 offers in order to get a deal. For seller finance, it really only takes about 50 to 60 to be able to get a deal. So that's what we're going in heavy right now. There are other ways of doing creative financing. Like, for example, if they have a loan, then it's subject to the mortgage, and you can actually take over that mortgage. You take over their good interest rate, their low monthly payments, and you get a good property. But what we've seen for those is that subject twos are more for people that are in need. So there are people that are distressed and they need to sell quick because there's not much equity that we can offer them because the deal is already so tight. And with seller finance, seller carrybacks, they own the properties free and clear. So we're able to really play around with the terms, and all they want to see is a good down payment. And so we're able to give them a good down payment and get a low monthly payment that's then going to let us cash flow the property pretty well.
Oh, I see. So, like, what was your highest deal so far in, like, real estate, not only in
Yeah,
wholesaling? Mhm.
so in real estate, the highest one was actually out in California. it was $1 million property, and
Wow.
so the wholesale fee was of over $100,000.
Wow,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
rich.
yeah. No, but remember, at that time I was doing it with the company, so I only got 10% of it. So I
Ah, I
think,
see.
it was really good. I got around like 10 grand. But yeah, I think with the company overall, I made them about like 350 to $400,000. So that was just on the first year of wholesaling. Yeah. So that's what made me think, if I could make this for them, imagine what I could do for myself later on in the future, right? Once I take all this knowledge that I gained.
Yeah, true, true. So,
Yeah.
are you like with you mentioned earlier that you're still working with that company. So, are you like building your own team now? Are you planning to like have your own LC?
Yeah, so I actually do have my own LLC as well. But I, with that first company that I was with, I'm now with them. I'm with a different company, and here, since it's almost like we're all building the company from the ground up, we have the main person, which is Edwin. He's the brains behind the whole operation, and then we're like his partners, acquiring the properties, right?
Mhm.
And so, as far as an LLC, I do have an LLC since it's a contracting job, and just tax wise, it's a lot better to do it through an LLC than through your own name. But as far as building my own thing, I do plan on doing that. I have two like mentees or affiliates that I'm actually helping for free, and then they're just gonna split their profit with me once we do get a deal. And I'm showing them exactly what we're doing, step by step, and then hopefully once they get that deal, they learn the process, they can do it on their own, and then they can just have me dispo the deal, right? So
Yeah,
it's like a good relationship where they don't have to spend any money up front. It's not like a mentorship fee or anything like that, and we just do business together. Um, so yeah, if anybody out there, any new wholesaler or anybody that's been doing this for a minute, if you guys want to reach out to me, my Instagram is Young Mexican, YUNG Mexican, and then an X at the end. But
mhm.
I'm open to partnering up with you guys, showing you exactly what I'm doing step by step, and then being there for you if you need me, and hopefully closing some deals together.
Okay, great. So, so Joshua, everyone makes mistakes. So, if you could just go
Yeah.
back in time and change a mistake or your mistakes, what would be something you could have done correcter, better in getting a failed deal closed?
Yeah, so having patience, a lot of the deals, you're gonna lock up a lot of deals, but not all of them are gonna close, right?
Mhm.
And so it's just learning, hey, I need to get as many deals closed as possible because they're not all gonna close. So for example, one of the first mistakes that new wholesalers do when they do get a deal is they kind of lift the gas pedal off, right? So they stop going hard. Why? Because they got paid, so now they got money in their pocket. And that's a mistake. You just got to keep going. It's like a snowball. Once you start, you can't really stop. You got to keep that momentum going. You got to keep grinding and hustling. Another mistake I would say is not reaching out to people for help. Networking is really the biggest asset in life, not just real estate, right?
Yeah.
People are willing to share information, if you bring them value, if you return the favor as well. And so if you reach out to somebody and they don't want to share their information, go on to the next person, right? There's plenty of people that are out there willing to share what they've learned. And then another last mistake as far as acquisitions when I first started was talking too much, right?
Mhm.
You're there to really listen to them, right? As a seller, once you find that person that does have a problem, you need to be their ear just to listen. If you find yourself talking more than listening, you're doing something wrong, right? Because all you should be there to is to guide the conversation in the right places, but the seller is the one that's supposed to be telling the story. You gotta get what their pain is. You gotta see what they want in the future, what makes them happy, how to solve their problem, and you're gonna get paid from that. You're gonna become a solutions engineer, which is gonna pay you a lot of money if you're able to perfect it.
Yeah. So, yeah, aside from those, things you've learned from your mistakes, what have you learned like so far that might help other, struggling wholesalers or those young wholesalers who's about to venture wholesaling?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things is keeping track of your KPIs, keeping track of your offers, how many you're sending a day, and seeing it visually. If you set a goal of sending 10 to 20 offers a day and you're able to track that for the whole month, you should see where your flaws are at. Are your flaws that you're not making enough offers? Are your flaws that you're not making enough calls? Are your flaw is maybe that you're not good at negotiating, right? But if you don't keep track of it, you're not gonna see what the issue is, and you're just gonna keep going in a circle, and you're just gonna keep on going months and months without a deal. So that's the first thing I'd say is, keep track of your KPIs. Um, and then another thing, people are scared to hit on market leads, but there's so much money in that. If you don't have the money to pull a list, if you've already gone months without a deal and you've already, wasted all your money, but you still want to try to do this, get on the MLS, get on Zillow and start hitting all of those leads, right? Um, I don't know, people get scared, but and I get it because we actually hit on market listings, and it's a whole nother breed of type of wholesaler that you need to be to deal with these agents. But man, the money is there, and the leads are there. It's warm leads. It's just a matter
True.
of knowing how to talk to the agent, making sure that they're on the same page with you, and just being open with them. For example, one of the things that does help as well is not saying that you're a wholesaler, right? And
Hmm.
also not lying about it, right? So
Yeah.
one of the things that we do is that we say we're an acquisition firm. And this is a big gem. This a gem dropper for everybody because not a lot of wholesalers know this, and it's something so simple, but a huge game changer. Because if an agent's gonna ask you, who are you, or are you an investor, and you lie, they're gonna see in the contract at the end that you're gonna sign it, and they're gonna tell their seller not to do it, right? So
Hmm.
might as well be open with them, let them know, hey, I'm actually the acquisitions of an acquisition firm. We're just looking for properties for a pool of investors in the area. Is your seller interested? We're able to offer, around 80 to 70% of the purchase price, such and such, just depending on the area. And then that's where the whole negotiating comes into play, right?
Okay, yeah. That's actually like a good tactic. So
Yeah.
so there are lots of wholesalers right now that use capture pages. So are you one of them who has capture pages as well? Do you have your own website where you get your leads, or and what capture app or company that creates your capture pages?
No, no. So right now we're not doing any PPC leads.
Okay.
All our marketing is $0 basically at this point. It's all
Mhm.
just through on market listings, working with realtors. Yeah. But
Oh.
I do know, PPC is really good. Normally you should be closing like around every 8 leads that come, you should close one. So if you have the money for it, and you don't want to go through the whole MLS dealing with agents, then yeah, drop around 5 grand for the month, and you're gonna get your monies back. It's just about taking that risk.
Okay, so you mentioned like you're paying zero for like getting your leads. So how did you like get your leads aside from the on market that you found in Zillow? So what are like few tricks on your sleeves that can help them as well so that
Yeah.
if they have trouble in, pulling leads.
No, yeah, so 100% for the serial marketing, it is really all through Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com. There's specific different tools on Chrome that you can get. For example, if you go on the Chrome store, there's a Zillow scraper which pulls data from Zillow. So you can
Mhm.
add it to your Google Chrome and it's gonna pull all of those listings. So you can go to the map, build your list. For example, do two beds, one bath, under 100 grand, only apartments or condos, whatever you want your list to be, right? You build it, it's gonna come up with maybe 500 or so, and then you just go page by page. You download them with the tool, and it puts them into an Excel sheet. And then from that Excel sheet, you just call the agents. You just call them, text them, email them, and yeah, you'd be surprised. It's a little bit more work on the back end, but it's definitely a lot easier once you get used to talking to agents.
Oh, awesome. That's very, very helpful. So, Joshua, thank you so much. You've been very helpful. We appreciate your time.
Thank
And as to what my mentor usually say, you are a wholesale astronaut. It's someone who does
thank
not
you.
only, aim for the star, but someone who would land on the moon. And we wish you all good luck in your future endeavors. And by the way, can you tell us again your contact information, your social media information, if there's anyone out there who want to reach you?
Yeah, 100%, man. And first of all, thank you to all of you and Evan as well. I appreciate you guys for even doing this again. But yeah, if anybody wants to reach out to me, my name's Joshua. My Instagram handle one more time is Young Mexican, so YUNG, and
Mhm.
then Mexican, Mexican, and an X at the end. Again, open to collaborating, helping. I'm an open book. I remember what it was like struggling and having to reach out for help. So I'm here for you guys, okay? 100%. Anything you guys need.
Alrighty. So everyone, to those who wanted to reach out to Joshua, a link on his bio will be posted below. So guys, that's it. Please share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell below. Thank you again. This is Jem telling you have a real tastic day. Bye.
Let's go. Bye.